And as promised, Adnan Virk joins us here on Big Board Sports, ESPN studio host for college football, basketball, and baseball tonight, and everything else this guy has on the plate. It's a lot. Does a phenomenal job. We appreciate him taking a few minutes to join us here on Big Board Sports 104.5 A Team, ESPN Radio in Albany. Adnan, Roger Weiland, and Chris Honorado, good morning.
Hey, Roger, Chris, what's going on, guys? Good to be with you
man.
again.
Thanks for a few minutes. Are you ready for the it is officially March 1st. Are you ready? Are you ready for the madness in college basketball?
I was about to say, hooray for March 1st. I was with Tom Crane and Dallin Cuff last night. We were in studio, and it was not a great slate. Rob Gray and Houston, SMU at 9. Kentucky won in the 7 o'clock game. But we were all saying, hey, man, it's March. Let's go. And Crane's been unbelievable. I don't know how much you guys have seen him.
He's terrific.
I knew he was a great coach. Obviously, Final Four with Marquette and, won Big Ten championships 2 of the last 4 years at Indiana. But I did not realize how good an analyst he'd be, and I didn't know how funny he was. On air and off air, he's a riot. So he's been a great addition for us in college basketball. And Dallin Cuff is great. Played in the Ivy League, played at Columbia, good dude. So I think we have a pretty strong roster. I know I'm biased, but everybody knows about Seth Greenberg and Jay Williams, and they're wonderful. And obviously Dan Dockich is so funny, but I've had a blast this college basketball season working with Green and working with Cup.
Yeah, we had Dockich on yesterday. He is he's a piece of work, man. I told Chris, I said, he's a guy that the way he comes across on the air is like you would go out to a local establishment, sit down, have a beer with Dockich, and he would say exactly the same thing.
Oh, he's incredible, right, Roger? Like, he doesn't hold back. He's no filter, which, I mean, listen, it can alienate some people, but we know in talk radio that's exactly what you want to be. You want to be loved or hated. You don't want to say, okay, he's all right. And obviously he's carved out a great name for himself with his talk show in Indianapolis. And as far as a college hoops guy, what ends up getting lost with guys like that sometimes because they can be so outlandish and so outspoken is they really do know their stuff. And that's what Green said to me yesterday. He's like, no, when Dockich is making points, listen, he's a smart guy. He's analytical. He's just so funny and so outspoken. Maybe some people don't realize how good he is.
And can we get through the madness without any more coming out on this FBI investigation, or is this going to be a storyline throughout the tournament? And of course, tonight we'll know a lot more with what's going on in Arizona because the Arizona Board of Regents are meeting regarding Sean Miller.
Yeah, I don't think so, Roger. I'd love to be able to get through it and just focus on the games because. Listen, I never got into sportscasting for, unveiling corruption and hard-hitting issues like that. I don't have that journalistic gene, man. I just like the sports. I just like the fun, and that's what I'm all about. So it's not that I don't think these are major issues. Of course there are, and of course we should be uncovering corruption. And if there's malfeasance going on, then of course that the FBI is right to do it. But I just say personally as a fan of the sport, hey, man, I'm here for the madness. I want to watch the games, and I think, unfortunately, this is going to cast a huge shadow over everything. And you're right, the Sean Miller story, we're going to get some clarity today because the Board of Regents is meeting today to try to figure out what to do. But I don't know, man. There's just so many people sniffing right now for the story, and rightfully so because it is a major story, that I think what's going to happen is guys like us are going to be like, oh, man, how great was the first day of the tournament? And then, boom, the next day some other coach is investigated and some other school is being investigated. So it's going to be a weird roller coaster of praising how good the college basketball is, but then a lot of hand-wringing about how to fix the situation.
Adnan Virk with us here on Big Board Sports 104.5 The Team, ESPN Radio. Check him out on Twitter at Adnan ESPN. And he's a day away from heading to sunny Los Angeles for the 90th Academy Awards, where he won an Emmy last year for his coverage, the Oscars All Access.
I got to cut you off, Chris. I'd love to keep that story going, but, it wasn't me. With the actual Emmy, and you can look it up. It's so long-winded I can't even remember it, but I think it's best use of interactive media within a non-conventional live event program. So really what they're saying is it was an awesome idea, and I encourage people to check it out again this year, Oscar.com, OSCAR. It's a great second screen experience. The best way I can describe it for sports fans, it's like what we did with college football in the MegaCast. Obviously, you're going to watch the national championship with Fowler and Herbie, but then you can, on your laptop, on your iPod, or, on your iPad, you can watch whoever. I think we had Adam Amin, Joe Tessitore. We had guys on the sidelines, ESPN2, Homer's broadcast. So same thing with the Oscars. You're going to watch Kimmel, of course, on ABC, but then pop me up on Oscar.com and you can see it. And it's honestly really cool. It's 18 cameras behind the scenes. When the Oscars goes to commercial, we don't. We're live the whole 4 hours or 3 hours or whatever it is. So you see cameras seeing Denzel Washington getting up and talking to Matt Damon. You see Steven Spielberg joking around with Martin Scorsese. It's actually a really cool way to watch the Oscars. It's nice to get Chris to say that I was a part of it, but the crew won an Emmy, not me.
Yeah, the humility is great. All I heard was that you won an Emmy. So it's we appreciate the humility, Adnan, but I'm giving you the Emmy, all right?
Well, I appreciate it, Chris. And I'm not that humble because you're right. In my Twitter bio, I did change it to Emmy Award winners. What the hell?
Well, there you go. And I do want to do some. We do want to do some Oscar stuff with you too, Adnan. But first, I want to ask you, as we transition here, and you'll be in the Baseball Tonight studios before long. This rivalry between the Yankees and the Red Sox has a 2002, 03, 04 feel to it, where they're back in the marketplace vying for some of the biggest names in baseball. I love it, and I'm just an outsider. I'm not a fan of either team, and I think it's great for the sport. Where are you on Yankees Red Sox 2018?
100%, Chris. I think the game is never better when those two rivals go toe-to-toe. And I think that's true of any sport. I think in the NBA, if you have Celtics, Lakers, both at the peak of their game, that's awesome. If you have Cowboys, Redskins, or whomever it is in the NFL, I think that's always a good rivalry. Packers, Bears, it's always good to have those teams that are longtime rivals going head-to-head. And I think in baseball, Sox, Yankees is where it's at. And I love Brian Cashman's comments, very tongue-in-cheek, and the Yankees are a little engine that could, and saying that Boston's the favorite. Like, come on, with the Yankees don't get Giancarlo Stanton and don't feel like they're the favorite. And I am so blessed because I'm right in the middle. I never thought that I would be good friends with both managers of those teams. Right. Alex Cora, of course, worked with us on Baseball Type for 4 years, is a good friend, a good guy. I still keep in touch with him. And Aaron Boone, who did my first ever Baseball Tonight with me, and I'm so proud of him and so pleased. And he's a huge Philadelphia Eagles fan like me, so I talked to him after the Super Bowl. He was getting emotional because he's a big Harold Carmichael guy. I, of course, was a Cunningham fan of those Eagles teams of those years. But the fact that Boone and Cora are right in the thick of it, two wonderful guys, and two really classy guys. So maybe this rivalry will get interesting, but it isn't going to spill over to those guys because they're both such gentlemen. But yes, among the front office, among the fans, no doubt, it's Boston, New York, toe-to-toe for the AL East.
Well, the odds-on favorite here to win Best Picture is what, three billboards?
Outside Ebbing,
right,
okay, well.
Yeah, right now it's a slight favorite, Roger, over Shape of Water. Going to be toe-to-toe here with these two movies. Shape of Water won the Producers Guild and the Directors Guild, and it's a lock to win director for Guillermo del Toro. Who's brilliant. He did Pan's Labyrinth over a decade ago, Pacific Rim, movies like that. But Three Billboards won the SAG Award, which is the Screen Actors Guild Award for Best Ensemble, and the largest branch of the Academy is actors. It's a pretty good predictor of what's going to win Best Picture. It also won the BAFTA for Best Picture, and of course that's the British Film Academy Awards, and there's nothing British but a film set in Missouri. I think it's going to win for actress for Frances McDormand. It's going to win for supporting actor for Sam Rockwell, and probably going to win for screenplay, although Get Out has a chance of pulling off an upset. Now, the reason to not pick Three Billboards, only twice in 85 years has a Best Picture winner not had the Best Director at least nominated. And in this case, Martin McDonagh is not nominated for Best Director for Three Billboards. He's up for screenplay, and as I said, I think he'll win for that. So that could hurt its chances, and that's why the door is slightly ajar right now for The Shape of Water.
Well, Adnan, my wife does news talk radio here in the Capital Region, and I told her that
I'm going to throw something.
You were going to come on this morning. I said, hey, give me some stuff here to throw at Adnan, and she follows this closely. And she said there are 9 nominees, and then she said, I have only seen one, Three Billboards. It was terrible.
What is
dark
wrong with
and
Kelly?
She said, Adnan, let me finish. She said, it was terrible, dark, and no ending. I have no idea it was so acclaimed.
I'll agree with one part of her, what she said, because even the huge admirers of the film, which I am, it was one of my favorite movies of the year. I loved it. People will readily admit there isn't much of an ending. I'll give her that one. The movie just kind of ends. There's no real truly beginning, middle, and ending, and the movie ends, I would say open-ended, but perhaps a bit of on a flat note. So I'll give your wife that. But I love the fact it's dark, because movies I love are always dark and cynical, and I thought it was wonderfully funny, even though it was very serious subject matter, and I guess she didn't go for the audacity of the dialogue and just how well it was acted. I'm surprised she disliked it so much, but I'll say this, Roger, it is polarizing. And I'll say this also, those who didn't like it, she didn't mention, maybe she'll probably agree with this when she hears this, but they didn't like Rockwell's character particularly, because he's this virulent racist who engages in police brutality. And by the end of the film, his character is partially redeemed. So your wife was just my side that, you know what, I just found this guy so alienating. How can he be somebody that I could root for?
You know, people said the same thing about the Sopranos series finale and the way that ended. That is a great show of all time. Three Billboards was a terrific movie. I went in with almost a closed mind on it. I didn't think I was going to like it at all. I came out of it thinking it was absolutely terrific.
Hey, Chris, I don't know if you were like me. I didn't know anything about it, which is probably why I loved it so much too, right? It felt so unpredictable.
Me too.
So I had no idea where the story was going.
Me too, and I thought Sam Rockwell was terrific. I mean, you're right. You hate him, but they humanize him at points, and he ends up being one of the funniest characters in the entire film as well.
Yeah, he's a great actor. I wish I could get him on my podcast, Cinephile, but I saw him in an interview, and he said that, why do you play such stupid characters so well? And he goes, it's not that I myself am stupid. I hope not. He said, but I am kind of naive and I'm kind of gullible, and if you stretch that a little bit, it becomes a little bit dim. And he uses that quality, which I think he has as a person, to really humorous effect in Three Billboards.
Would you like the next question from my wife?
Oh, boy.
I can't wait.
All right, because I said, throw some stuff at me.
Who's doing this interview?
Kelly. She said you've got to ask him. You have to ask him about Ryan Seacrest on the red carpet.
Yeah, so here's this issue. Obviously, Me Too is a very powerful movement. Everyone is well aware of what's happened in Hollywood, the issue of sexual harassment. And what's happened is that you've got, obviously, these criminal monsters like Harvey Weinstein and Kevin Spacey, and then people who are tainted with the brush, and then we don't know what happened or didn't happen, i.e. James Franco, who made a great film in The Disaster Artist. I was hoping he'd get nominated for Best Actor, but then there was a story in the New York Times about several women alleging harassment. He denied, but maybe didn't go as vigilantly as he should have. He doesn't get nominated. Now he's kind of disappeared. People say he's distraught. Now, Seacrest, I haven't followed the latest on it, Roger, but somebody did mention to me yesterday. I forgive me, Kelly would know, but I know somebody alleged that he had harassed her, him, I think her former assistant.
Yeah.
He came back and denied the allegations. I think now there's somebody else who's saying there's more allegations. So if this second story has some legs, yeah, you might not see, and I'm going to be on that red carpet, you might not see Seacrest there, because I find that generally if there's one and the person can, investigate and say there's nothing to it, fine. But if there's two or multiple sources, it can get a little dicey.
Yeah, she's spot on, because she said he has done the red carpet for years, interviewing celebrities before the show. His former stylist has come forward alleging he sexually harassed and abused her for years. Now, because of the #MeToo movement, publicists are telling celebrities not to talk to him on the red carpet. And the big question is, will he still host the show, and will they talk to him? And then she wrote, they are only allegations, and Seacrest denies them.
Yeah, it's interesting, though, because I personally would feel like if I'm an actor, I'm still going to talk to him because I don't know the full truth. That hasn't been fully investigated, right? Innocent until proven guilty.
Right.
But to her point, though, but the publicists, I'm sure there are publicists who are saying, as soon as you get touched with the brush of this, you don't want to be a part of it, i.e., you don't want to feel like you're complicit in it. I'm going to just throw in an actor, Willem Dafoe, I love, who's up for Best Supporting Actor. So Willem Dafoe is going to be on the red carpet. Maybe his publicist is saying, you know what, don't even talk to Seacrest, because if it comes out, it's going to make you look bad for talking to a guy who was guilty of it. So just to be safe, listen, there's hundreds of other media there. Go talk to Robin Roberts with ABC. Go talk to somebody else. You don't have to talk to Seacrest. Just politely decline. So that's not that far-fetched, even though I don't know. I'd rather wait and see what the full story is.
Yeah.
Check out the podcast, Cinephile. It's on iTunes. Check Adnan Virk out on the Oscars All Access. Raj, it's on Oscar.com, but you know where else you can find it?
Where else?
Facebook Live.
Oh.
You can find it on Facebook Live as well. Sunday night, 8 o'clock is the 90th Academy Awards. And Adnan, we've talked about Three Billboards. I have not seen Shape of Water, but you and I, we've had you on this program before. Thank you for that. And I talked about how much I enjoyed Dunkirk. But I think Get Out, like, I'm glad that it's been nominated for what it has been, but somehow, some way, I feel like it's still a really underrated film. What would you say was your favorite movie of 2017?
Yeah, my favorites were Three Billboards and Shape of Water, followed closely by Dunkirk, which you mentioned. You and I both loved. Lady Bird, I was stunned how much I enjoyed it. Mother-daughter story. And the one I really love is Phantom Thread, which is, listen, not for mainstream audiences, but if you love 1950s Hitchcock, if you love There Will Be Blood, the previous collaboration with Paul Thomas Anderson and Daniel Day-Lewis, and honestly, if you really just like Daniel Day-Lewis, he alleges it's going to be his final film. I thought it was a brilliant movie and witheringly funny, and his gothic romance, which took a lot of chances. But I fully recognize that's not the kind of film a lot of people are going to check out. To go back to Get Out, that's a movie I was hesitant to go to because I said, I have no interest in horror comedies. That's just not a genre that appeals to me. It came out last February. And then I was on the road. I was actually doing the Big 12 tournament in Kansas City. And I said, you know what? It's got 98% Rotten Tomatoes. Everyone's talking about it. Let me just go see it. I'm on the road anyways. I got nothing else to do. And I loved it. I was shocked at how wonderfully funny it was. It's so satirical. Makes a lot of pointed comments about being black in America today, interracial romance, the way people view you. It was really smart. and funny, like I said. The ending, I think, gets a little bit crazy. My buddy Mike Golick thought it was just a little bit too stupid and too camp for him by the end, but I thought it was a little bit goofy. You do have to make a horror film, and that's to fit within that genre. But I'm with you, Chris. The best chance it has right now is for screenplay. Like I said, it's neck and neck right now for best original screenplay, along with Three Billboards. So if Jordan Peele could somehow win, that would be amazing. And the fact that that film is up for Best Picture is a real testament to its popularity and to a first-time filmmaker knocking it out of the park.
Adnan, can we end this on a sports question? Please,
Roger.
All right, thank you.
You wanted to grab the steering wheel back, right?
It's been great, and I've asked all my wife's questions, so I'm done. All right. Can we ask you this? A lot of SU fans here in the Capital Region, Adnan, they lose by 15 at Boston College last night. They're sitting at 7-10 in the ACC. Did that loss last night kind of put the spell of doom on them in terms of getting into the NCAA tournament?
Yes, they're done. I was with Crean and Cuff last Wednesday, and we had the Syracuse-North Carolina game, which, by the way, there was technical difficulties. It was Beth Mowens and Dan Dockich calling it, and then we had technical difficulties, so I had to do some play-by-play.
Saw that.
Battle for three. So it was me and Crean and Cuff calling it, and during that game, Coach Crean said to me, they just don't look like a tournament team, like just period. And I was like, yeah, like they hung in there. If you'll recall, I think they lost by like 4. They made definitely a good run late. But North Carolina won. Then they lost to Duke on Saturday. And then last night's game, you're absolutely right. All of us said this is pivotal. They've got to beat BC, and they lost by double digits. I mean, it's a real simple way of saying it, but they don't look like a tournament team. And Joe Lunardi had them last night as one of his first 4 out. After that loss, now their next 4 out. I don't think they can get in.
Yeah, with you 100% on that.
Is there extra pay when you have to do impromptu play-by-play?
Well, it was pretty funny, Chris, because I didn't, listen, I'm not expecting anything. I don't got rosters. I got my feet up the whole time. So as soon as the producer, we're in commercial break, because, hey, the feed went down. We were up. We're like, what? So it was a little bit of just kind of rambling conversations we're doing right now. But thankfully, our research was like, all right, here's a roster. Just give me some stats, whatever. And like I said, Coach Crean and Dallin are so good. They guided me through it. But it was pretty funny seeing the tweets go, why the hell is Adnan Virk going to play for this game right now?
Yeah, I was watching at the TV station and going, what are they? And then you guys did an absolutely great job. Of course, when it's on TV, you can kind of just have a conversation anyway without getting into like, hey, the ball's in the right wing, top of the keep. You can get through it. You guys did a phenomenal job.
No, thanks, Roger. Adam Amino is a great call calling games. He told me once with college hoops, you don't really have to call it until it gets under 10, meaning exactly what you're saying. You can talk Syracuse zone, Jim Boeheim, recruiting, et cetera. And once it gets under 10 seconds, then you want to actually call the play and say, all right, Roger to Chris inside, Virk with the block, et cetera. So the good news is we got the fact that Shea Brissett is Canadian on the air, which no matter what, I was going to mention the fact he is from the Great White North.
Oh, you are the best. Adnan, hope to do this again sometime, perhaps maybe in the month of March. I know Chris will reach out. We appreciate it, and have a great weekend.
Anytime, Roger, Chris, and my best to Kelly. Those were some good questions.
I'll pass it along. She probably was listening.
Thanks, guys.
See you, Adnan.
Thank you, man.
All right, good stuff. Adnan Virk.